You're talking about a team that sets themselves up for Shockwave. You're talking about a team that should realistically be on high ground just about every single game, and they're not doing it. I do wonder if they have done their homework, hit that drawing board, and really figured out the method to their, hopefully, new version of success. Because while second was absolutely impressive, they should still be doing this more consistently overall. Remember, we're talking about a team that did that just in week 1, but when you look at the other performances from other community tournaments that were hosted, they haven't been too hot. So I am curious to see if that was a thing of the past, and coming into week 2, maybe they have patched up the missing holes. Yeah, already we're looking at some early game action. The team is on the run. Someone's going to go in and try to Shockwave out, but this is going to cause a bit of a split. And there it is, the second and third player now trying to exit out. This guy's going to go with the bouncer play, and that was a white tag. You have to assume it's probably over for him, and yes, it's Gabe on the other side of the wall. Great low ground peek from Illis.
Close though as well. Got a heavy shot onto. I was about to say, that's probably the last person I'd want to be in a 1v1 situation with right now in NAE. This Illis, as Clicks comes around the corner, probably the second last person I'd want to run into. So
getting together and playing at top tier caliber. Here now though, we have Isiv, Bully, and Slick now. This is a contested draw spot. The same, I would say, battle or hurdle that was happening last week with Paper and Crew, but this time around, Paper's going to find the frag that he needs in the early game. Quick knock here, and it's looking great for Paper and company.
This is obviously Bully's solo drop as well. He has this place on lockdown. He plays it really well. So if anyone's going to be able to win this one, it's going to be Bully. That was 2 huge white tags. This player is incredibly weak. He's trying to shockwave around another blue tag. This is a different opponent now. So he has done tremendous amount of damage here in this fight so far. Bully is carrying this fight. He is so confident. He's up against the wall, shotgun in hand, just closing it out. And they managed to swing it after Paper's big initial blow onto Isiv. As we find out now that 8 of the top 10 teams from last week returned to round 3 today. So we talked a little bit earlier about how there's a lot of new faces on the block, but it looks like the consistency from that top 10 from last week is really showing. 18 above, and they've got those Stark rifles, and that's why this team has this strategy. They drop at craggy cliffs, but they almost always rotate through Stark if they can, and they get those Stark rifles. Anyone knows, if you've been watching competitive Fortnite, you know that Zexro is so lethal with a strong weapon in his hand at range. He's got such good aim and accuracy, and it looks like he's going for a bit of a flank maneuver. This is a bit risky because he's gone outside the bridge safe hold, and he's trying to sneak up behind them. He might be able to find the angle and the damage. I don't know. I don't think he gets any tags, and now he's split, and he's out in the open where this could get really messy really fast if another team has eyes on this, because there it is, as I call it, Zexro. I've been talking about how well he's known in the competitive Fortnite community for his aim, but he can't be making mistakes like that. You can't leave yourself exposed like that. He just had Calc go down from that exact same angle monster, and then he just doesn't cover it. And that's when you really pick those teams that you know are going to be consistent, like the XZ guys who had a rough day 1 but then came back in day 2, and that's where you really need to play for this. And Mac was showing serious confidence here right now. He is going toe-to-toe with 3 different players and actually out-damaging them. So I know they're pushing aggressively into him, which gives him a little bit of the advantage, but the reason why Macwood is picking this as his place to stand, this is where he digs in and says, you guys can't go any further, is this is where the material is. This is where the extra loot from his down teammates went down. This is where Calc fell, and Macwood is trying to fight it out, but no, Macwood goes down. He plays a little bit too aggressive, was maybe not worth holding on to, as Larson's team controls the bridge and takes them out.
Push outwards here. Remember, they did have a couple of eliminations coming into this already. You can see 2 on the board there. This is... This was home, right? I was going to say, this is where he's most comfortable. Sniper in hand, couple shots in that, energy rifle, couple big pots. Like, this is the ideal Bizzle situation to be in. And not only that, just max material coming into this mid game right now. Ooh. It's ideal for him. And oh my gosh, sniper in hand, talking about being comfortable. He's going to connect all the way.
It's so great when you say things like that as a caster and they just back you up. Bizzle's like, yeah, Monster, I got you, man. I am good with this sniper rifle. Hits the body shot with the instant follow-up with the assault rifle and just gets so much damage. And now the pressure comes out from Clicks and Illist as well. I was going to say the one thing they were lacking from me in his inventory is a bit of mobility, but I'm going to guess maybe Clicks and Illist are holding on to that because they know, as you just said, if you're going to give the snipe to anyone in mid-game, it's going to be Bizzle.
Yeah, he's notable with it, right? He's been doing this for quite some time, and he's going to follow up again onto Jared's now, and Jared's is just going to fall. This is enough of a green light for them to push on in. That's a team coming out of the storm line, down 1, and then the other crew has a player down as well. For what it's worth, this could be a solo, so, you know, why not push? And yes, there it is. He's going to fall there, and it was just one team. Ooh, for a second, they were caught a brief glimpse of Furious and Cease. We were hyping them up. But it looks like they're only a 2-man team now and had no shield. making what was possibly a tough rotate, and I think they're right above FOP, XNB, and Divine here. They're going to all cut out with a bouncer play there, coupled with the shockwave. Let's see how it's going to work. Oh my gosh, the big shots are going to come in now. FOP's going to get hit down to some really low HP. I mean, he has the minis to bounce back, but they're halfway through the material. Enemy's going to be behind the wall, and the turn and burn onto Qualix Walk is going to get dropped there. What a come up for FOP here, who needs the siphon right now more than anything.
That was big. He gets the elimination. I don't know about his teammates, but he doesn't have any white heals. There's the floppers as well. So he's got the minis, got the floppers. But unfortunately, as we see, when you take those fights, when you're trying to push into zone, it's looking like a pretty small zone. But there are so many players waiting just on the edge of that next storm to hold you out. And I see Chap, so I've got to imagine this is Who Fishy and Coop as well that's laying down the fire. And look at the base that they've built. Look how much room they've taken out. As we see Furious there as well, Monster. Oh no! I was going to say incredibly low health, but now on no health, he has been downed. And looks like Chap's team is not letting this team push forward.
I think it's actually Bucky, Creon, Kanata who are just up over on top of Chap's team. Yeah, and they continue to push inwards, and that's what they're gonna have to do. But this time, they're gonna need impact along the way. They're halfway through their entire material source, their material count, and that's not where you want to be. Not right now in the mid game. Not when you've been granted half in, half out zone. They're continuing. Look at AV. Look at him continue to step forward, just opening up their tarp, opening up their territory. Not that they need to. They have so much already. They're literally in the safe zone.
They just control, like you said, they have such good layer control, and they definitely like playing off this low ground. And now they drop a player in. You said they need a refresh. Again, Monster, I don't know. I feel like you're clairvoyant today. Every single time you mention what a team needs to do, or you say what they're going to do, within 30 seconds it happens. AV drops the player in, they get the quick refresh, and now all this extra space they had is so important. And the reason why AV pushes forward and then builds it already, you'll notice a lot of this is in brick or metal. It's what we call hard mats. It's those materials that take longer to build, but once they're fully built, they're so much stronger. So if you can preemptively build that in the direction you want to go, it gives you so much more protection coming into these end games where players are likely to spray at walls if they see wood or anything weaker.
100%. And now, though, it's going to work out because they have all that space to work with to make this next rotate. And it might just favor onto them as this is going southwest here, southwest, all the way down to that bottom left there. The big congestion, though, is up at the northern portion, so it is going to be still a big rotate for the most of the lobby. Luca here, who has 3 eliminations by himself. Zerabola, who's out of the running right now, has to try and do something big. What can Luca do with half of his material count already gone and 3 eliminations already? I mean, he's got the crash pads. It's going to look like some solo play for yourself kind of style here. Let's see how it's going to work. Okay, that's a steep pad. Yes, it's going to toss him right in, and now it's all about the tunnel game.
I'm a bit scared here, Monster. If I haven't got this right, Unknown falls. Noah, big tag, just left himself open on the low ground. Unknown caught sleeping here, but I'm looking at this zone, Monster. It's looking like a scary one. If I've got this right, I'm trying to figure out, I think this is going over the dam, or at least it's going right towards the river. So yes, it is going that direction. So you can see this massive verticality these teams are going to have to scale. And this is where you've got to be so smart as a team. If you drop all the way down, you have to come back up, as Luca doesn't want to drop down, but he's dropping Aspect as we see Clicks, a player that I'm guessing just wasn't able to control, goes out into the zone as we have a team on high ground. I knew if they were uncontested, we should have picked them. We have Zate, Saf, and Stretch proving they don't need the Doom's Mythic Bomb to control high ground. They're in such a good position as we see teams like Bizzle all the way down who now have to come back up and out of the dam.
Yeah, Marzo W's team as well are down there, but Xset's crew is definitely in the best position. The mid ground being beautiful because they control a great tarp across both land masses here. Xset's AV, though, is going to get tagged up hard. He's going to have to base up, heal up, use these chug splashes prematurely. He's on the run, though. He doesn't want to stop in battle. He can't even stop and heal. But this is the beauty of a team that knows what they're doing. Sticking with one another, even through thick, through thin. It's working out. Only 1 elimination. They're in complete shambles. They might get wiped out, but no, they're going to find the frag that they need. At least 2 from Knight to keep him in the game.
Shark goes down here, but AV and Knight are still together, and they drop another player in, and like you said, they're just so good toe-to-toe.
It's Booger.
They take them down. It's Booger. Booger falls here, so your team taking down my team. Unfortunate, but I have to think this is going to be the story of Saf, Zate, and Stretch. How much can they win by? We don't see this team lose from this situation on the high ground, but there's so many teams on low ground picking up so many eliminations and points. Zate just took down Kriya. We see smacked in the feed as well. I saw Chap down there, and I know Chap backed up with Coop and Who Fishy on the low ground are going to be doing some serious work. As I say that, Chap gets another elimination in the feed, and we have Edgy, Bucky. This is a who's who of NAE Monster. Every top team seems to have made it into this endgame.
It's looking like deja vu from last week's qualifiers once again, as the same big names are going toe-to-toe in the final moments. And now we get the beauty of the XSET boys doing what they do, which is deliberate mid and low ground control. And that's exactly how it's working out here. Even as a two-man team, check out the wide tarp here in the low ground as they are effectively holding players out. On high ground, of course, though, Zate is putting down that pressure in good fashion, even without Doom's gauntlets, even without that safety factor, being able to save himself from fall damage. Here it is. Knight's gonna follow up on the commandment before getting traded out, but still, great plays overall.
Great plays overall as AV is still going. This is a player you can't count out. He made a name for himself in duos as one of the best solo players in team game mode, proving why here. Takes down AJ. He's just pushing through, but he's in such a rough spot. He's down the mountain. He has to fight the uphill battle against one of the scariest teams to have on high ground. They get dropped out though. We have Vix coming up and trying to make his way through this. AV bouncing up. He's still in it. He's clawing on for everything he has. He misses the pump shot.
No way!
The second though, Vix falls. AV is going massive right now. He is picking up everything he can to keep himself in this, but no, he goes down. But what a ridiculous effort in a 1v3 situation.
And it's how it should have played out. Zate's team on high ground, Saf and Liquid Stretch are going to take that victory, but the Kings of the Crypt down.
I mean, first off, mad props to choosing the XSET boys as a potential team to take down the #1 spot, who are coming in second. But again, Freeze.
You're right.
Absolutely.
Right. Shao, go ahead.
Past that, yeah, past that too. It's kind of like, will they
back.
continue to be uncontested, right? I'm back, but I'm concerned as to if Zate, Saf, and Stretch will be.